Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Caitlin Camarda, right here, right now, in the present of now. The topic of today it's a super interesting. We have a wonderful special guest that is coming here. So super interesting topic. Let's set up everything. Here we go. Here we go. Share the screen. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Instagram. A lot of super interesting question, and I look a lot on online, and there's something that I like. So I look up a lot of YouTube stuff about how can find your soulmate, how can find your dream husband and wife, and a lot of people are talking about this, and most of those people are not even in a relationship. So my head, I think, really important rules right now, really important things to say that relationship is an important path in your life. So it's important to listen to good people. And I'm really proud and is one of my best things that happened in my life to have one of the most important and special relationship that's is my wife. So I think I'm a little bit kind of the right person to talk about relationship because I have a wonderful wife. And she came to me and say, well, your podcast have a lot of good tools and skills for a lot of people, but you're missing something important. How can attract your soulmate? How can take like attracting and manifest your soulmate, your dream house, your dream husband, your dream wife. That's really important. I say, well, we should do a video. And so today we have a special guest, my wonderful wife, a soulmate, and I'm really proud to bring on this podcast my wonderful wife, Caitlin Camarda. Share the screen with you. Can you hear me and listen to everything?
Hi, everybody.
Oh, that's awesome. We have um, everything set up. So you have three three simple rules to manifest your soulmate. Well, what you can see, how you can, of course, your special soulmate should be me, right? I hope
Oh
so.
yeah. Oh yes.
All right. Yeah, just to make sure it's me.
Yeah. Well, it's my three ways are interwoven into our story. So if you don't know our story, Nicola and I met being from opposite sides of the world. So we are a long distance relationship success story, um, and we are an exception to the rule, because if you have your soulmate, doesn't matter where they came from, right? They could be across the world, doesn't have to be in your town, or it definitely could be in your town. It has to do with what's right for you, and if you get on the right path to attract them, you will end up together despite being several thousand miles away like we were. And so, like I said, I'm going to interweave kind of my journey to finding you, discovering you, um, into my steps here. So where I started, I mean, growing up, I would see all these magazines, all these books on dating, being a woman, a girl. It's like, fast tips, look hot, da da da, all these things. I'm sure a lot of women can relate to finding a guy that way. And I came to a point where I just kind of was sick of just my typical route of dating, now working out, and then starting from scratch all over again. Yes, I was, getting better with each guy, but I just knew there was kind of something off. And my first step was really daring to dream, and that's kind of the first step that I want you to write down when it comes to finding your soulmate. Dare to dream. Now, we have a lot of prejudices when it comes to kind of dating and men and women in general, which whether we realize it or not, we may think that, you know, the perfect woman or the perfect man is supposed to be like this, or women are like this, so I have to kind of adjust the way that I am. And I want you to not think of it as, okay, this is how it is, so therefore I need to do this. I want you to think of it as, you know, what's really in, what do I want? What's really something about a special person, whether I think it's possible or not for me? What is something or and some things that I would really love to have in a life partner? And how I started with that was it was a suggestion in a book to write a journal entry of a future time where I was with my future soulmate and what we were doing together. And
So it's
yeah.
more like totally understand what you are, what you're looking for in in a specific way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's making a um, bringing kind of a dream to life, whether you think it's possible or not. It's not in your power to decide if it's possible for you. That's not your decision. And it can be your decision in the sense that if you put self-imposed limitations, then you'll actually block a dream person for you,
Yes.
if that makes sense. So, so yeah, I started there. And what it did is it really put me in a future headspace. And I could literally feel my connection with my future soulmate, even though I hadn't met them yet. There was no prospects at the time. Um, I I think I was just kind of ready to have something really different than what I was used to having, and really thinking more forward towards the future, which, you know, being in my late 20s at the time, I hadn't really thought of that. You're just kind of in your 20s and like, oh, this is fun, I'm dating, whatever. You're not really thinking about future. And I think I got to the point where I was, you know, who's that person that's going to be with me for the rest of my life type of thing. So next thing is, after I did that, I needed to let go and say no. So that's the second point I wanted to make. So let go. Now, it's not up to you to figure out how that's going to happen. Now, we have a lot of strategies of meeting the right person. You know, it could be, and a lot of books will tell us, and a lot of magazines and news stories will tell us how to do it. Like, you know, sign up for Bumble or go on all these dates, and you'll end up, you know, it's a numbers game. By the time you reach, you know, so many people, you're very likely to meet your soulmate. It's not about that. It's not necessarily up to you to figure out how you will get there, get to that future journal entry. So, being also like a wedding dance instructor, like to ask couples how they met, and a lot of them, it's really interesting, will have met through maybe an online, you know, website, and when they've met online, usually they've met each other as like the first or second person that they've went on a date with on that app, and they didn't really consider themselves internet dating people, but for some reason they felt inspired to go online and make a profile and start to look at people. And that's where it really comes from. It's not necessarily from strategy, it's from that manifestation, that inspired action to be like, hey, I feel a calling to, you know, make an online dating profile, and their person was on the other side, and that was just directing them. Now, for us, you and we met in real life, IRL, and not URL, and we both ended up in Tampa, Florida. I'm Minnesota. You're from Italy. We were a we're a part of a healthy coffee company, and for some reason, you had to get to this event that was being hosted in Tampa, Florida. And for me, I didn't think I could make it there. I was invited by somebody, and they wanted to help me out, so they paid for my ticket to go, and um, and it was just that the universe will make it easy to happen, whether it be by inspired action or through helpers. It's not really up to us in terms of strategy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's some coincidences that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Now, kind of breaking into our own story again, we had met in
Yeah.
Tampa, Florida, and um, there was just something about you. I just had to like, I felt your presence to my right side. I read before seeing you, and I was like, oh my God, he's the most beautiful Italian man I've ever seen. There's lots of Italian guys there, but I don't know, for some reason I had to talk to you. And then we just kept separating that night for some reason. And because it was a work event, it wasn't like a necessarily a social, it was a social party, but it was more oriented towards working. And you barely spoke English, so it wasn't like it was necessarily easy to talk to you. But for some reason, I felt compelled to like ask for your Facebook, which I never do with guys ever. But for some reason, I did with you. And and even though we kept separating, we would kept meeting again. It was almost like a GPS self or correction of like, oh, you took a wrong turn. You gotta find each other again. And we just kept meeting each other that night. And even at the hotel I was staying at in the lobby, you weren't even staying there, but you ended up there. And and then we separated again. Uh, and thankfully, I had asked you earlier in the evening for the Facebook, which you were able to message me, even though I went back to my hotel room. It was the last night. I took a shower, was ready to go to bed. I had a flight in the morning. You know, we, but thankfully, for whatever reason, I felt compelled to ask you the Facebook. We connected again, and then took a stroll and had a drink together, and got to know each other better. And that was the part of us, really. So I go to the next part of the let go into the say no portion. So this is where you might start to get into your head after you see your future vision for what you want. And this is where you start to compromise. Well, this person is a great person. They're really into me. They're here in front of me right now. So this is where you compromise and end up with the person that's not right for you. But they're just there kind of filling a void. Maybe it strokes your ego that somebody's into you, or maybe you think it's the best that you can possibly do. And this is where it's going to be really hard. This was the hardest point for me in my journey, but it was also the most freeing, was to say no. If that person is not right for you and they're not your future vision for what you want in your life, for an actual soulmate where you can see, growing old together for years and years and years, you have to say no. You have to open the space for that person that's going to be right for you. Because that person that's not right is going to block them in your life.
Exactly, exactly. So those three steps are really, really wonderful and incredible. And I always thinking, and I'm really lucky to I find you and inspiring every day. So this is really, really important three steps. And of course, there's a really basic line that can help for everything in life, especially in relationship, but that using the law of attraction to identify. So it's more like ask, believe, and receive. So how can manifest your um, your soulmate, it's more like open yourself, how you say, to accept and embrace exactly what you want.
Mhm. Yes. Now, I almost got done with my three steps. I've only said two so far. So we have first one, dare to dream. Second is let go and say no. Now, the last one is be the beacon. Now, I was inspired by watching, I think it was a home renovation show, I want to say, like HGTV. And there's always couples looking for a new house or, their dream house, what have you. And there was this couple on there, and they were really an endearing couple. And they were like, we met by going to, you know, Comic Con and da da da. They're just like a super nerdy couple. They were very like professional otherwise, but then they had this thing, this like nerdiness that they just like were so intertwined. And it was one of those things where like, oh, they're perfect for each other. And I was like, hey, I want that. And that's when I realized that I can't, I have to quit diluting myself to whatever is supposed to attract, men. I have to actually do the opposite. I have to be more myself to get the right person. And when you become more yourself, I want you to get weird. Whatever your version of weird is, like attracts alike. And if you're trying to be a cookie cutter version or what you think, you know, men or women want, you're going to dilute who you really are. And you only need that one person, that one soulmate in the entire world population. So you actually need to dilute yourself in the sense of being more you so that you can attract somebody that aligns with you. So I was all about alignment. How can I be more myself? And you know what? After I decided that, it felt so freeing for me that I didn't have to keep on trying to be whoever to find that certain person. I could actually, for the first time, just worry about being me. And you know what? I didn't even care about finding a person anymore. I was just happy to do what I like to do, not just doing things because I thought other people um, wanted me to do it. I could have fun being me. And I even had a thought like, hey, if I'm that uh, that aunt or that person that grows old and never finds a soulmate, I was fine because you know what? I had me as my own soulmate finally. So I was just happy to be me and have fun. And you know what? That aligned us together, and I became a beacon for the right person for me. So that's why the third one is be the beacon, be a beacon, because you just need that one person. So just be yourself.
That's incredible, awesome. And now explain how am I love my personal growth because it helped me to find the right people like you, Caitlin too, have next to me and like teamwork together and work together and experience together this life together. That's really, really important. And everything that you say, I'm totally compatible with what was my experience. I had a really strong belief that I love redhead girls. I totally my belief that was I will never find a soulmate on next to my door in Italy, and I was impressed how a lot of people totally find the perfect match on the next door. And I would say we are 6,000 billion people on this planet. I can't find my soulmate in this country, in this place in Europe. And I'm a strong believer I want to find a really smart, professional woman that can help me to improve myself day by day. So, like you say, you gotta really know what you are and understand what you're looking for to a soulmate arrive in your life, and of course be the beagle, be the house that you wanna everybody are welcoming in. And of course, then thanks to law of attraction, coincidence and happen in your life that make that possible. You don't have to worry about to um, strongly looking for, spend a lot of energy to find your soulmate and uh, download all this dating app, because if you put yourself in a different energy, in a welcoming energy, your soulmate will manifest it in a wonderful way, in a coincidence. And you, every time you, I'm always impressed how this work, because it's wonderful to look at how energy and this universe work. So this is really helpful. And for all my followers on podcast, this is my wonderful wife that's explain everything, how my personal growth journey is developed, because I have next to me somebody that it's always um, pushing me to do better day by day, to is trying to make me a better person, better man, better husband, better future father day by day. And that's how I do the same. I always pushing my wife to do better myself, to believe more than self, and it's the perfect match that what you're looking for.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yes. And one kind of funny thing too, because when I'm a natural redhead, but when Nicola and I first met, I was platinum blonde for that summer. And so it wasn't like he saw me and was like, oh, there's my redhead. I was actually platinum blonde. So in his
Yes.
mind, he was like, probably consciously, maybe, not instantly like, oh, this is her, but there was maybe something about me. We still like were magnets to each other, despite not it being obviously so, right? It kind of took time. And even later on that night, I'm like, hey, I should show this guy what I really look like without this platinum blonde. And he was like, oh my God, I love redheads. And I never get that, to be honest. All guys always want, brunettes and blondes. I never really got the, oh, I love redheads type of guys. So I was like, oh, wow, interesting. That's pretty
And I'm really
fascinating.
impressed how we had almost 2 years of long distance relationship, like more than two, but the real was almost 2 years of long distance relationship, and wasn't that heavy and stressful and kind of really hard to maintain. Almost helpful, was really good for me, those 2 years of long relationships, and make me um, do the right choices in that time. So another thing that is really important, that whenever you find a person, if you're struggling to communicate, to, if you're not feeling better, if your energy is low every time you see next to this person, it's not the right person. If it's naturally help you and put you in a good energy, that's that's for sure is your soulmate.
Yes. And there might be people, watching this that are struggling maybe with a breakup. I think a lot of times we are, looking at a past person, or we just don't know, uh, where to go. If you sit down and go back to my step one is the dare to dream, that'll help you during something like a breakup, or when you're feeling down, because then it'll remind you that that person, you may have liked a lot of things about them, but they're not your future vision. And that'll help ease you, and letting you know that you're still on a journey to finding your true potential in your love life. um, and that past person may be great, but now you know that that's the person is not right for you. Or because you're looking at yourself and becoming more aligned to that person, maybe you'll find each other again at a better time where it's easy, because it's not supposed to be hard. A lot of people, I mean, if you would have told me I would have had a long distance relationship with an Italian guy before I met Nicola, I would have, never gone for that. I would have never thought it went anywhere, type of thing. It has nothing to do with what you think it should be. It all has to do with alignment.
That's awesome. Love is really, really important in our life. It's keep our energy in a totally high level. It's really important to find your love, and it's not will be necessary be a person or necessary be um that kind of person. That could be everything, but love is really important. It's one of the best emotion that we can have to put our energy in a totally different level. And of course, we are amazing in one of couple, but like every couple we fight, we have different opinion, we always try to improve ourselves. So it's to have different opinion. It's not everything pink and rose and butterfly and glittery stuff, but because this is life. So if you really want your soulmate, you gotta looking to somebody that can push you in a different way and challenge you every day.
Mhm.
So I'm really, really proud to be Caitlin next to me to experience this life. And of course, if you guys have other questions, specific question, and want to know more about our really amazing story, how everything happened with a really small coincidences in a beautiful night in Tampa, you can message me and follow up on the social media. And I'll let you conclude as a wonderful interview, Caitlin.
Yes, thank you. And yes, if you have any more questions about the 3 steps or our journey, or if you want to expand more, just let me know in a comment if this was helpful for you too. I want to know that this can help you on your journey as well. Thank you so much for watching.
Awesome. I'll see you downstairs on the living room for lunch pretty soon, my beautiful love. From Nick Camarda is everything. Hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. See you on the next video. Ciao.